This is Irontrader, and this is Midday Trading. So we're going to take a look at some stocks here. First of all, take a look here at Pepsi, PEP. We're going to take a look here on the at Tesla. Now, remember, the earnings are coming out here on the 23rd. That'll be next week. And then we're going to take a look here at Race. That's Ferrari. And then Netflix. Netflix, remember, the earnings are out today after the close. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy or sell a stock about ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, first of all, we have Pepsi. Now, their numbers came out here today, and actually they were really good. They beat on all the metrics, looking very, very good. And I can see here how we had this downtrend situation here, okay? See, we had a double top right there, and then we come down here, we put this series of lower highs in here, and then we had this consolidation, okay? So a lot of times when you have this consolidation, you build energy, okay? And it went up to the next level. Now it broke right through that 137 level, cracked above that 100-day, and now we're kind of sitting in no man's land here, okay? So we got to look at today's high. We had 145.32 level, okay? So what you do is your next level here, we're going to be looking for resistance, is going to be right here. You're looking at 147.18, and then we're going to go up to this 200-day here at 148.70 level, okay? So that's going to be your upside. And then I got to see if you can keep right on rolling here. There's a lot of big targets all the way up here, 154.92, and then we come back to this double top situation here at 160 level, okay? I don't like it when stocks gap up because usually you're going to fill that gap here, okay? So on the downside, you want to watch, obviously, is today's low. That's at 141.64 level, okay? So basically, you just look at the top of that candle here. You have 141.85, okay? So you're very close right there. And then what we want to do is we want to come down here to the bottom of this candle right here. And I'll hit the 100-day first, 139, and then we want to hit that bottom here at 138.33. And then we can look here at that price channel. We're looking at 137 flat, and then we want to look at the fill, okay, right here at 135.51 here. So we have this gap. Okay, the bottom of that candle, 141.64. Top of that candle, 135.51. There's your gap and there's your fill. But we do have the 100-day. We have a sport going on over here, and we have that price channel at 137. Now, actually, now you can see here how this ripped right on up here, and you instantly almost went to an overbought situation. So let's see how that shakes out. Last time we went to an overbought, so you got right up here, and then it came right on down. I like it to be if it would fill this gap, that would be good. But if not, we have a nice big target up here at that 148.70 level, okay? So again, we got to just see if you own this here. I would just see how this all plays out today. Maybe we could hit that 200 SMA there yet on the upside. If not, watch that 100-day, watch this price channel, and then watch that gap fill all the way down there at that 135.51 level. Okay, let's take a look here now at Tesla. Okay, here we have Tesla, your daily chart. Now, the numbers are coming out here on the 23rd. That would be the earnings. So we got to see how it all shakes out. Now, they've been missing the numbers here, declining sales, declining revenue for a long time here now, okay? And especially in Europe there, it was really cut down pretty solid, okay? However, a lot of times that doesn't really mean a whole lot, okay? It's really not the numbers, it's the reaction to it, okay? Now remember, this is a lot more than a car company here. You know, you have an AI trade, you have that self-driving situation, you have SpaceX, you have solar, you have all kinds of stuff that's in this in this company here. But again, if Elon would just focus on this, I think the stock could do a hell of a lot better than what it is, okay? But anyway, it's for me, it's a good trading stock. I just love to trade it because it has big movement every day. Now, an easy way to short this is TSLS. That's an easy way to do the old short ski, just like I did all the way on down to the bottom here, okay? Now, what we're looking at here, we're looking at this 50-day at 322. You want to really close back above that situation. Then we can come up here, top of this candle, looking at that 331. We got 343. We got 357 level there. Then we can come all the way up here back to your retest at 367.71. But right now, we just have this sideways action. You can see here how we had this negative divergence. See, we have a high and a lower high. We have a high and a higher high. And that was the result of it. She just came right tumbling right on down. Now, remember, this is always very news related. So you always got to remember that, okay? So if you have profits, take your profits. For me, this is just a trading stock, okay? So now what we're watching is all this thicket here on the bottom here, okay? So you got that 317 level. There's your 200 SMA here. We have this 8 simple A sitting at 311, and we come down to the 100-day at 292, and then we have your 288 retest. That was a recent low, and then we come all the way to the bottom of this candle here at that 273.21 level, okay? Now, there is a gap all the way down here. So if you look at the bottom here, look at 244.43, and then we look to the top of that candle at 242.79. So we have a gap and a fill, and then we can come down to the bottom here to 37.68. and then we come all the way down here at that 214 level. But that's only if you lose that key price channel at that 288 level, and we start losing this here, okay? But I like to show you what could possibly go and point out anything that'll give you kind of an edge if it does sell off, okay? But again, on the upside here, everything is jammed right up here with the 50-day, the 200-day, and your 21 SMA here. You just have to get back above, all this kind of situation. Maybe we can get that retested at 357 and possible, 367. A lot of traders just won't give up on the old Tesla. Okay, I personally think it's way overpriced here. I mean, and now you also have to remember here, if they cut off that $7,500 the deduction that you get here coming into September, I don't know here how many people are going to be piling into these Teslas. So we've got to see how that all shake out. That Cybertruck, that was a complete disaster. I mean, you bought a Cybertruck last year for 100 grand. This year it's worth 60 grand. I don't know. I could buy a lot of gasoline for $40,000. You know what I'm saying? But again, for me, this is a trading stock, okay? I really don't have the belief in it one way or the other, even though it does have a lot of things going. It just, I think, is more of a hype situation than it is an actual freaking, an actual play. I mean, a lot of times he kind of sells dreams. You know what I mean? We're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to do this. And then, 5 years later, you finally get this thing, okay? But right now, we got this consolidation. We got this sideways action. But we got to see what happens with those earnings. The earnings are going to be very, very key this time to see what direction that this is going to take. But right now, we're inside these price channels. See that 288.77 on the bottom and 357.54 you're about right in the center of that. So you want to just trade that range till she's either going to break up here or she's going to break on down. Okay, let's go to one of my favorite is Race. Okay, here we have the old Race. Now, this is Ferrari. This is an actual car, okay? So what we had is we had the sell-off here like we had with the rest of the market. Came right up here, and we had a nice, huge rally. And now here we are. Again, we're holding that 8-day very, very nicely. Okay, so what we're really watching, we made a high today of 504.65. Yesterday's high was 506.15 level, okay? So what you're really looking at here now is this candle right here, okay? At that 509.13, that's the breakout. If you crack above that, you're going to go to that 550 area. That'll be the target, and then you can keep right on rolling on up there. You know what I'm saying? Very, very nicely. But we got to see how this all going to shake out, okay? So now when we had this overbought condition, you can see where it just sold right on off. Now we're trying to rally right back up here. We're putting in higher highs here, but you notice how this RSI here is not making higher highs. See, so realistically, what you got going here is you're building a negative divergence. So you got to be a little bit careful with this. And the key is we made this high here of that 506 level there, but we got to really watch that 509 so that we don't have a double top situation. Okay, so that's going to be key. Now on the downside here, what you really want to watch is the top of this candle here. That's 499.06, and then we want to watch 494. That's your 8 simple moving average, and then we want to watch your 50-day at 483.42, and then we want to watch that 21-day at 483.75. Now again, if we lose all this here, we have this gap. Okay, so you got 481. 46 is your gap, and then look to the top of that candle, 477.72. Your gap and your fill. Then we can come down to the 100-day as that's sitting right there, 464, and we have 457, and then we have your retest down there at 453 level. So you got to be a little bit careful here on what we got here. But if you look at this pattern here, see how we have a left shoulder, we have a head, we have a right shoulder. Okay, so this here could have a really nice, good breakout here. Once you close above that 509, you're going to head right towards that 550 area with no problem. Now, I'm not saying it's going to instantly get there, but I think she'd march right up there very nicely. So always try to look for these patterns, okay? That left shoulder, that head, that right shoulder. When you get that nice inverse head and shoulders pattern, you know what I mean? She can rip up just like what we had there on the old crude oil. Okay, let's take a look here now at Netflix. Okay, now we have Netflix here after the close. Now you can see this is a beautiful chart, okay? You have a bottom left here, and we have an upper right here. This is just a really, really beautiful chart. Now, again, you're starting to get the football season. That's less than 2 months away, and Netflix is going to have a lot of games right there on their channel on the Netflix. Now, when they report, I don't know if they're going to report how many the subscribers, how many have something that they're going to leave out this year. But again, we got to see how this all shakes out. But this stock has had a huge, huge run kind of a situation. So what we're really watching is this 8-day on the upside, that 261, okay? And then we're going to be watching that 21-day at 271, okay? Now, if we get to that level there, then we're going to come up here to the top of there. You're looking at that 1302 level. Then we can just march it right on up here. You got 1331 and then 1341. Now, if we crack that, obviously you're going to go 350, 360, and you're probably going to march it right to 1400. Very, very easy. It'd be nice if this stock would split. That would be good. But right now, she's just marching very, very nicely. Now, we do have a nice good situation here where you have that nice series of higher lows. If we start losing the bottom of this candle right here at 1231 level, then we'll be looking for that 50-day at 1225, then that price channel at 1215, and then we can come down here to the bottom of this candle. Okay, you're looking at 1227 level, and then we can just march it all the way on down. You got 1106, and then we have there 1100 flat here on your 100-day. But right now here, this is a really good uptrending chart here, so you got to give it the benefit of the doubt. Okay, now we got to a little bit of overbought condition here, and now she's just kind of pulling back here. But again, let's just see what the earnings are, and they shake on out here. If we can get back above this 8-day, that would be very, very good. The back above the 21-day. But again, with a stock that this high, this will, if it's going to gap, will probably gap up 20, 30 points at a time, and we'll blast right through that. But then watch that number right there, that 1341. If it gets up in that area, we want to see what the reaction is to that level. Does it blast through, or does it come up here, double top, and then come right on down again here? So if you look at the earnings in the past right here, okay, so we just take these earnings number here. You can see here we just had a nice rally up here. Now look at here, okay, we had that gap and then in a go situation. Look at here, gap and then go situation. So the odds of this thing going up higher is probably very good, because look at all the last 3 earnings periods that worked out very, very nicely. Okay, if not, on the bottom, just watch that 50-day, watch that price channel. We start losing that, just look to the bottom of that candle right there. Okay, that's going to be key. That's going to be that 1180 level, and then we could come down to the 100-day 200 SMA here. But right now, if we just kind of look at the pattern, Netflix here could go, could go higher and even retest that 1341 level, and then we'd have to see. Okay, now your RSI here is only sitting at 51. That's plenty of room to go run again. Look how nice how we had this overbought condition, I should say. And so we could do that again. Now, your green is below the red, but that doesn't mean it can't hook right back up here. So let's just see how this is all going to shake out, because this is going to be very interesting on the earnings if they can keep this pace up on what they're doing with the subscribers and everything else that's going on. But right now, it's kind of difficult. Before, you could just turn your TV on and you could watch a football game. But now, I got YouTube TV and it's great. But the problem is, it's only like a tier 1. Okay, yeah, you get Paramount, but you don't get Paramount Plus. You get the NFL station, but you don't get NFL Plus. So everything is looking for that plus. But it's kind of hard to say, hey, I got internet. Okay, for an average person that says, hey, I got TV. Now I got to buy a Netflix app. I have to buy Amazon. Okay, I have to get on Peacock. I have to go Paramount Plus. I got to have 5 apps besides this. They're going to have to try to consolidate this into a package deal where you get everything, so you can turn your TV on and I can watch whatever game I want, and it doesn't cost me $1,000 a day. Okay, so they're going to have to figure that out here for your average person. Otherwise, they're going to start losing these subscribers. So we got to see how this Netflix here is going to shake out. But just remember, you got that football season coming on here, and all that stuff going to be coming up here. So again, this could take this stock much higher. If we look at all the last 3 earnings periods, every time it ran, and it ran right up here very, very nicely. Okay, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here after your pit close. We'll take a look here at Bitcoin, gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas, and the indexes, which are up nice. Dow's up 178, S&P's up 28, and the Nasdaq's up 155 level. Okay, now I'm going to be out of town here starting from Sunday through Wednesday. However, since I'm a workaholic, I will have a video for you Sunday night, and I'll have a video for you every morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so I get you started for the day. All right, trade what's in front of you, not what you want.